And I thank God for your stewardship and your generosity to make this a reality of our parish. I'd like to offer a small catechesis to you. All of these things I offer to you in love so that we can grow in understanding of the Orthodox Church, because oftentimes we fail to know even the basic things of the Church. So I was asked last week, how is it that we can do the liturgy in the hall? We don't have an altar table. And I had to explain to them that yes, we do have an altar table, and every church typically has one. If this was a cathedral, oftentimes cathedrals have 2 and sometimes 3 altar tables. What is the altar table in the church? Is it over there in the altar? The Antimension. Very, very good. So for those of you who are perhaps new to the parish or don't remember, or you were not here when I offered the catechesis about a year or so ago, every church has a piece of cloth. It's an icon, really, and it's called the Antimension. This is what it looks like. I have it so you can see it. And I'm sure most of you have never seen it, because you're not in the altar. But this is the Antimension of the church. What is it an icon of? Right, the death, really the entombment of Jesus in his tomb. See? And on either side are the 4 evangelists usually. The angels are there. Sometimes God the Father is depicted. You'll see Jesus sitting at the right hand of the Father. So it's a very theological icon. I can't get into it right now. It would take me an hour or so to explain everything that is depicted in this. But this, every church has to have this. If you had a cathedral and you did not have this, even if you had the most ornate altar table, the most ornate icons, if you do not have an Antimension, you cannot do a Holy Liturgy. The Antimension, if you looked carefully, you would see that every Antimension is the same in every metropolis, but all the metropolises are different. So what do you think the difference is between, let's say, the metropolis of Atlanta, which we are in, and the metropolis, let's say, of Denver? They would have an Antimension, but what would be the difference? That's right, the bishop, or the metropolitan, or an archbishop, depending, in whose area, in whose region the church exists, signs the Antimension. And it has a year on it, signed by a bishop on a certain date. And typically when a new metropolitan or a new bishop is assigned to, for example, at Atlanta, the previous bishop passed on. If you remember Philip, he passed away, and then we had Bishop Alexios for a while before he became Metropolitan Alexios. When he is enthroned, after he is enthroned, typically, sometimes at the enthronement, sometimes a different liturgy, he invites all the priests to come to a divine liturgy, and he presents each priest with an Antimension that he has signed. So whenever we do a liturgy or whenever we do a service, you will see sometimes, not sometimes, you will always see the priest. Right before he starts the service, we bend down in front of the table, and then we kiss the table twice. We are kissing the table, the holy altar table, in honor of Jesus. But we are also kissing the hand of the bishop for whom we are doing the service. Every church, the Catholic Church is the same way. They have an Antimension too. I forget what they call it in the English language, but they have the same thing. As a matter of fact, there are people, I don't know who they are, who actually collect ancient Antimensia. If you go on Google If you even go on the places where you buy different things, even Facebook Marketplace, and you put in Antimension, there are people who are selling them. They find them in various parts of the world. People don't know what they are, and they sell them for great sums of money because people collect them. Obviously, the older they are, with the signature maybe of older, maybe saints of the church or monastics of the church, they become more valuable, and people actually, as I said, collect them. So by right, I would not be doing a liturgy on an Antimension that was signed by Bishop Philip. Bishop Philip is no longer in control of this diocese. I would be doing a liturgy on the Antimension that is signed by Bishop Alexios, as I mentioned. When I was at the cathedral in New York, the Antimension that I would be kissing would be the Archbishop, Demetrius at the time. So whoever the Archbishop is. The reason why there's more than one, typically, is because there are church services that are done. There's some churches where they do more than one liturgy. You cannot do more than one liturgy a day on the same Antimension. You cannot, only one. So a second priest, and the same priest cannot do more than one liturgy a day. Catholic Church, yes. Orthodox Church, no. Orthodox Church, we can only do one liturgy on one Antimension a day. So if you have two liturgies, you need two priests, and you need two Antimensia. That's the difference. That's the only difference. So when people say, well, Father Frank, why can't you do another liturgy? Well, I cannot, not allowed in the theology of the church. Yes, what would you like to ask?
Is there such thing as a church with more than one priest?
Yes. Are there churches with more than one priest? Yes. St. Mark, for example, a church that I built in Boca Raton, has two assigned priests there. Two. One is an assistant priest, one is the head priest, and then there are some priests that are in the area and they go there on Sundays and they help. So any one of them can do another liturgy, but they cannot do the same one. You can participate in the same liturgy, but you cannot be the one that lifts the gifts. Whoever lifts the gifts, tasag tunson, whoever does that, that's the celebrant. There's only one celebrant for a liturgy. There could be 5 or 6 priests, there's only one celebrant. Same thing with bishops. There can be more than one bishop in a liturgy, but only one is the celebrating bishop that does it. So that's the difference between the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church. So I offer that to you so you know a little bit more as to why, how we can do a liturgy in the hall. It's because of this. We can move it from over there to over here. Please rise.